I'm having some tech issues. Give me a second. I've got some technical issues. I'm hoping you can hear me. Let me know if you can't hear me. I'm having some tech issues. I was trying to do this on the computer, and yeah, my computer's not cooperating. So we're back on the cell phone. So, can you guys hear that music? Alright, so like I said, I was trying to do this on the computer, but it doesn't want to cooperate fully. So we're back on the cell phone. And hopefully everybody listened to the podcast. I'm hoping. Okay, I lost my chat window. There we go. I'm trying to make my chat window bigger. I'm gonna look at the chat on the screen. That way it's bigger. Alright, we can turn the music off now. Alright. Thank you for joining, everybody. As usual. So, hopefully everyone can hear me. Hopefully it sounds good. I unfortunately was having technical difficulties. I really wanted to do this on the laptop, but it's not cooperating with me, so it is what it is. We just roll with the punches, right? So, let me know if you listened to the podcast by an emoji hand, if you can. I see a couple of them already. So I appreciate those that listen to the podcast, because it doesn't make sense for us to have a podcast discussion when only a few people listen to the podcast. Also, same thing for book club. I do a second live video about 30 minutes or so after the actual discussion. I'll jump on a second live and we'll have random chat. So just remember that this is for those that listen to the podcast. If you wouldn't mind just kind of holding any kind of random chat until after we discuss the podcast, I would appreciate it. It was like 35 minutes long. And according to my screen here, we have no thumbs up. That's sad. I'm not a very happy person right now. So if you forgot to do your thumbs up before you join the chat, could you real quick hit the thumbs up button for me so we can get all those thumbs up in? I would like to have exactly the same amount of thumbs up as we do people in the chat. That makes it awesome. So I'm looking at the emoji hands. People listened. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we have some friends that I'm going to give some moderator to. Let's see. Hey Patrick. Hello Miss V, Aunt Catherine, Judy, Miss M. Don't forget to go to crystalvanner.com, guys. That way you definitely get the someone said they did their thumbs up right off. I don't see any thumbs up. Maybe it's just my screen. It could be my screen not showing the thumbs up, because I have 0 thumbs up showing on my screen. Let me look on the actual... Nope, I can't do that without turning the volume up. Hold on, let me turn the volume down on the laptop, and then I can play the video so I can see exactly what's going on there, because it's not showing me thumbs up on mine. Yeah, it just says 49 watching and no thumbs up. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's a YouTube thing. It is what it is. So we have several people Thank you, Miss V, for the text. So we have several people that listen, so this is going to be a good one. The title of this one, it was number 10. And the title was Getting a Date. So this one was about basically how you can get out of prison. You either serve all of your time, or you get a parole date, or you try and escape. So the two that this particular podcast talked about, this episode talked about, was basically parole dates and one escape. So if you didn't listen to it, I definitely recommend that you go back and listen to it. It was a decent one. So definitely go back and do that. Thank you, Miss M, for the podcast link. Christina wants to know if we can see her. Yes, we can see your words on the screen. Yes, we can. We can see it. I gave Stargazer 0621. You guys got, you should have a blue wrench right now. If you would just type a little something so I can see if you have it. I made you guys moderators. There's a few people here where I'm camped, and so I think some of them have jumped on the live, so it's cool. Yep. Oh, Pam says, or you die. Yes, you can leave prison by dying. That's true. Very true. So, the one I was most interested, the story I was most interested in was a gentleman that escaped, and the way that he did his escape attempt was really good. Yes, you do have a blue wrench, Tammy and Sarah. As soon as you type that. Yes, you do. Do you see it now? But, so if anybody comes on and starts acting crazy, you have the, power to, yeah, so I decided to show you the inside of the van. Somebody was upset that I was only showing the wall over here where the electronics were. So I've turned my chair around. I have the laptop and everything sitting in between the two front seats so you guys can see the actual van. Anyway. So the gentleman who escaped from the podcast, let's stay on subject. We'll save that for the random chat. The gentleman that escaped from prison, and it was Old Folsom, is where he escaped from. Not San Quentin, where this podcast is, not where this podcast is recorded at. So he escaped by going into one of those huge industrial fans, like the huge ones that they put outside of buildings, like on top of buildings. And he had 18 inches of room. So, I mean, this man must have been really skinny to lay himself into 18 inches of space. He must have starved himself to death to get in there. And basically escaped and ended up on the run. The man got married, had a kid, although the child wasn't his, but he raised him since he was 2. This podcast was just funny to me. It was very, very funny to me. I don't want to talk the whole time, though. I want to read some of what you guys thought about the podcast. I was sad that he didn't get his parole date because they kept bringing up the escape attempt. And, it was 30-something years ago that he attempted the escape attempt. And so every time his parole would come up, he would be denied. And so that was kind of sad because I felt like he's 70. How old was he? 72 or 70-something years old. It's like, okay, dude hasn't tried to escape anymore. He's had nothing but, a good record since then. So, yeah, it's just unfortunate. So, Miss Foxy to you is saying, I can't see anything. Make sure your screen brightness is turned all the way up. And I don't know what you're watching on. Are you watching on a phone or a tablet or what? I'm not sure what you're watching on. Maybe your screen brightness is not turned up all the way, or just exit out and come back in. Sometimes exiting out and coming back in it works. Carlton says, just curious, was Eddie Murphy or Martin Lawrence with? Okay. Carlton, you're about to get put in a timeout, my friend. All right, Colton's been put in timeout. So everybody can see me? Okay, it was just the one person. Okay. So I just put Colton in a timeout. Moderators don't get excited and block him. We're going to give him another chance after his timeout. So Carlton, if you are still here listening, you cannot comment for a little while. I'm not sure if it's 20 seconds or 30 seconds or 60 seconds. I don't know. But just want to let you know that you're in a timeout right now. So you can choose to leave the chat and not come back, or you can choose to wait out your timeout and act like you got some sense. Lena says, I think he kept trying to get away because he knew he didn't have a chance. He didn't have a chance even if he did well. They just kept holding it against him. No forgiveness. If God can forgive, then it's okay. Why can't be smart people? Yeah, I felt like, well, he only had the one escape attempt. Oh, so Carlton is somebody that I actually know. I just found out. Thank you, Miss V, for the heads up. Carlton, why did you come on with a different name? Why are you hiding your name? Carlton. Carlton. Don't come on here acting a fool. You saved that mess for... No, you saved that mess. Don't come on here acting a fool. I'm about to block you permanently. Anyhow, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't come on messing with my lives, okay? Don't do that. Especially if you're somebody I know and I'm considering you a friend. Don't do that. Well, yeah, his escape attempt was definitely before he started facing the parole board, but this is my issue was he escaped. He was trying to escape because he had a lot of time coming that he was going to have to do. So it was early on in his prison career, if you will. I don't know if that terminology is right, but yeah, I mean, he tried to escape. He read a bunch of books. They had books in the library of failed escape attempts. And basically he learned the clue to escaping successfully is not to tell nobody. That's how everybody who tried to escape got caught, is someone told. It was multiple people trying to escape together, and so someone told. So you don't never tell nobody your plans if you're trying to do something like that. You keep it on a DL. So yeah, but he messed up with his wife. His wife messed him up. He would have still been out, but apparently his wife took out a lump $10,000 of money at one time when in the account was being watched by the FBI. It was a whole situation that happened. She kind of messed him up with that one. I don't know if she did that on purpose or not. I thought about that. I was like, I wonder if she did that on purpose. I don't know. Anyway. For some reason, my thing keeps going back to top chat. Make sure when you are doing the chat, you do live chat and not top chat. Make sure you choose live chat. Because if you choose top chat, it'll only show you, for some reason, I guess, the popular people, the people that comment the most. But if you do live chat, you'll see every single chat, every single comment, rather. Miss M said he broke his own rule and told his wife. She wanted that money before she got in trouble, says Lena. Yeah, I mean, well, he told his wife because he was going to marry her. I mean, I guess he didn't have to marry the woman, but I guess he wanted to start the marriage out without that lie, but whatever, I don't know. I don't know. Judith says I couldn't figure out how he made it to San Diego to see parents without following parents early on. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. But remember, his dad was visiting him, and his dad was putting money in the balloons real tight, and he said the balloons were like the size of a pill, and he would swallow them, and then when he pooped them out, he had his cash. His dad would roll up and fold up the $100 bills as tight as possible, put them in a balloon, tie them up, and they were small as like a vitamin type pill. And so, without the cops knowing. Well, when he escaped, the parents said that they weren't notified that he escaped, but that doesn't mean that the cops weren't watching the parents. Who knows? But I think if the cops were watching the parents, then they definitely would have found him much earlier, because he was able to go to Australia and then over to Europe he went several places. He didn't just hang out here in the United States. So he was, and I can't remember if anyone remembers, put it in the comments how long he was out. I don't remember, to be honest with you. I listened to it again today, but you know, I wasn't really listening. I was doing other things while listening to it. So if anybody remembers how long he was out, 8 years. There you go. Thanks, Miss M. So he was out for 8 whole years. So I think if they were following his parents in the beginning, he met up with his parents early on. And his mom gave him more money, and then he never saw them again. So I think they would have caught him way earlier if they was actually, you know, watching his parents when he first escaped. I don't think they probably realized he had escaped because he met his parents really pretty quick, then left. So, right, he didn't go overseas until, so he got a head start on, basically, he was looking in a TV guide. And you know how TV guys have the, you know, so basically saw the America's Most Wanted, and it had his name. So they were basically going to do an America's Most Wanted episode on him. And when he saw that, that's when he left. He left the country. So I'm just saying. He got out, though. He did what he did. Yes, Miss V. His dad put the rolled up money that was inside the balloon into a soda can. So when he drank his, what's the gentleman's name again? I can't remember. When he drank the soda, he would swallow the balloon with the money in it. So yeah, it was a whole plan. Yeah, he was without his family overseas, and he probably would have been okay had he not tried to bring them over, and his wife hadn't taken the big lump sum of money. So it is what it is. Lena says it's really sad because they want to do better. So about the time they get out, it's like unmeaningful, do you think? Well, I mean, he's in his 70s. Now I didn't get a follow-up, or I don't remember hearing a follow-up about that gentleman if he ever ended up getting out, but maybe that's something I can look into later. I don't know if he ever ended up getting out or he's still in prison right now, but it is unfortunate that something that happened 37 years, I think, ago is when he tried to escape, 37 or 39 years, that they're still penalizing him for that because it's in his record and it's going to be in his record forever. So it's like, why do you even bother letting me come up for parole if you're going to keep denying me based on the escape attempt? I haven't escaped since then. I have had an exemplary record since then. I don't know. But the one gentleman did get paroled who, what was his name? And he's young. He has kids and a wife. And he was saying how when he got his date, some of the other prisoners were like being mean to him that he got a date. Like, why did he get a date? You know, he killed somebody, and, you know, or he killed 2 people. I think it was, he killed 2 people. And so they were like, why did he get a date? And so there was some animosity. Can you imagine getting a parole date and being happy about getting a parole date, but then also having to still live in prison? Because it's not like they give you a date and then you get out within a week or 2. It can be months before you get out. So you're having to also deal with the prison mentality, and you could possibly get in trouble. Say somebody decides they want to fight you or mess up your parole. There are prisoners will do that if they are mad at you for getting a date, and maybe they didn't get a date when they went up, and so they'll try and plant some contraband, and or they'll try and do something to you, or it's sad, but it happens. All right, I'm not seeing chat. Anything happened here? Thanks, Miss M. Okay, I was wondering. Nobody was saying anything. We have 66 people on. Nobody's commenting. Yeah, I truly think they're not the same person they were when they committed their crime. I really think a lot of people, you have to change. That has to change you. It has to. It just has to. So Lena's saying, well, he did say he can go places mentally, so I guess that's cool. They can hold. He said that they can hold his body hostage, but not his mind. That's deep. It's like they can't stop you from being with God. Okay. Yeah. Susan, this was not a book. This was a podcast. The book club is at the end of the month. This is a podcast. The first Saturday of the month is the podcast. If you go to crystalvanner.com, the schedule is there. The last Saturday of the month is the book club. So we're going to talk about this for maybe another 5 minutes or so. So I want you guys to go ahead and give me your feedback on the podcast, those that listen, because several of you listen, but you're all being very quiet. So go ahead and just type in your thoughts on this particular podcast. We can get this done. Then we'll close this live out and we will come back and do our random chat live. So Amy B says, I was impressed by his attitude when he was denied a date, like Lena said. Yeah, I'm sure he's been denied several times. T says, I haven't been online to see you in a while. Love the podcast recap. It's pretty cool. Sorry to be off topic. Oh, no, it's okay. My complexion looks absolutely amazing. Thank you. I'm getting tan. We sat out where we're camped right now. There's we're near water, near a lake, and there's like a little beach area, and we sat out at the beach earlier today. So I've been in the sun a lot the last few weeks. So I've been really getting tan. Yes, Lena says the prisoners do really change, but it seems that it doesn't matter. That's true, and I feel like the longer they hold them in there and not really take into account the real changes that they have, the worse off it is for us when they do get out. You know, I feel like sometimes the time is just exorbitant amount of time for some of the crimes. I really just feel like it's just too much. It's too much. Tammy and Sarah says, don't know enough about this story to chime in following. That's cool. We'll do a random chat in a little bit. I'm going to give you guys about 3-4 more minutes for those that listened to comment. And then I'm going to we'll exit out of this and give me about 30 seconds or so to jump onto a random chat. Because the reason I'm doing that, and for those that are new to the live and new to the channel and new to the family and new to the journey, hello and thank you and welcome. I break up the podcast and the book club. We used to do 20 to 30 minutes of the podcast or the book club, and then I would just randomly chat. But people were going back to watch the replay. They did not like the random chat part because they just came on only to watch the podcast or the book club discussion. So that's why I break it up now into 2 different lives. So you get 2 lives in one night. That way I don't miss my views, because people stop viewing when we start going into the live random chat. So just that little disclaimer. Miss M is saying it was Philip Mendoza or Melendez that got a date. Yes, you're right. And the more desperate they are to escape, you're right. The more they keep denying them parole, the more desperate they are to escape. And then they end up saying, well, forget it. What's the point in having good behavior? And then they end up having issues in prison. I think that's how I feel. Yes, the fact that they have to face their victims' families and come to the realization of how that victim's family is doing without them. If it was a murder or if their victim was still alive, they have to face their victim. That's part of the parole, and I get it, but I feel like you can't be held accountable for the rest of your life for a mistake you did, especially when you get these prisoners in there that did stupid stuff when they were in their early 20s or even a teenager, and now they're in their 40s and 50s, and we're still saying, no, you can't get out. When they've been rehabilitated, when there's been significant improvements in their behavior. It's one thing if there's no significant improvements. Of course, we don't want them back on the street, but yeah. Carlton, welcome back. You'll come back for both? Okay. You can stay on the live, Carlton. Aunt Catherine is saying, I think that sometimes they just give up. Lena says that's exactly right. The prisoners that are freezing right now, wait, what? The prisoners that are freezing right now, and when do they get out? They will have more rage. Lainey says she's conflicted when it comes to sentencing. Part of me says if you do the crime, don't do the crime if you don't want to pay the time. The other part says it's not proportional. It's really not proportional. And especially the 3 strikes law is crazy because they give extra long sentences for even crimes that have no, what is it? Oh gosh, I always forget. Non-violent crimes. If it's your third crime, you can get like 50 years for a non-violent crime, and that's just ridiculous. Monster says a life for a life. That's very difficult, I think, a life for a life, because had my child or a loved one been killed, I would be like, yes, don't let them get out ever, ever, ever. But I also feel like that's still not bringing my loved one back. That person spending the rest of their life until they die in prison is not bringing my loved one back. And I also think every circumstance is different. Like I said, if they're young and they're stupid and they're hanging with the wrong crowd and an accident happens, or, just something like that, I don't feel like it should be a life for a life. Now, I can say that now, having never had anyone I love murdered, so I can definitely say that. But I've never, I've not been in that situation. My thoughts might be different. But I feel like once they've served the 40 or 50 years, and they went in at 19, and they've shown significant improvements to be rehabilitated, I think they should get a second chance. The problem with that is 99% of the crimes are intentional. I don't think 99% of crimes are intentional. I think people get desperate, people get on drugs, young run with the wrong crowds, and they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I'm saying this as a black person, because I know people that were in the wrong place at the wrong time or ran with the wrong crowd because family life was way worse or not good, and ended up being somewhere with a major crime went down and they went to prison for it. I don't think 99% of crimes are intentional. I really don't think that everybody that commits a crime is really 100% out there trying to do harm. I think sometimes people get desperate. They don't have any other, in their mind, they don't have any other recourse, or, they don't have, gangs were a big thing in the, especially in the 80s, and crack cocaine. People were doing some crazy stuff, and those people are still in prison. I mean, it's 2019. So we have people serving long sentences for weed, and now weed is legal in some places. Why are they still in jail? I mean, I'm just saying. That's how I feel. All right, a few more comments, and then we're going to jump off of this one and go ahead and go on a random live. So let's get a few more comments if you listened, or if you want to add something to this podcast discussion. So I'm going to go back and look here, and says, sorry for the prisoners that are freezing. The people are having a protest right now. When they feel it's not fair, they might want to get back at someone because of the unfairness of being locked up. Someone said, Lainey says, I've had a close family member killed by someone, males that went on a killing spree, and personally, I would inject them myself if allowed. That's different. Yeah, I feel like that probably I would feel differently. If someone's on a killing spree, that's intentional crime, definitely. Miss M says, my brother was killed by a young man and he was sentenced to death. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for both of you, Lainey and Miss M, for losing someone. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I can't even begin to imagine that. Monster says prison used to train you for release. We are having prison reform is definitely needed, because we have a lot of people in prison who are not being rehabilitated to come back out and live a life on the outside. They're not educating them. There's no therapy, because a lot of people in prisons, they're getting no kind of drug rehab. Their drugs are in prison, so you can't expect these people to come out and live a productive life if they're not giving any skills and they're not giving any help in prison. It's basically street life in prison is basically what it is. Veterans in prison is a real bad issue. Yes, I think veterans in prison is a real bad issue too. Because the one vet guy who got paroled, he was going to, at the time of the podcast, was starting a program to visit other prisons and local prisons in California to talk to vets. That's difficult because you give your service to this country. You give your limbs, sometimes your mind, with being shell shocked, and you can't come back and get any kind of help. And maybe you commit a crime because you're on drugs, or because you're dealing with PTSD or shell shock, whatever you want to call it, and then you get thrown in prison. That's very difficult. That our country just throws vets away after their time is, they've done their time in the military. They just throw them away. It's very difficult. All right, so that's been 30 minutes, guys. We're going to go ahead and close out this live, and I'm going to jump back on in about 30 seconds or so. Let me get another live going for the random chat. Okay, give me a few minutes. I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to go to CrystalVanner.com so that you can get all of the lives that we do every month. You'll know the schedule. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much, Calling Shotgun. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up on your way out of this one if you haven't already done it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well, and give me about 30 to 40 seconds to pop on to another live, and then we'll just random chat. And don't forget, when you get on the random chat, questions go in all caps with an emoji in the beginning. All right, guys, I'll see you in a few minutes. Bye. Thanks for watching.